Good evening and welcome to the December 2nd meeting of the Glenville Town Board. Please rise for the invocation and pledge of allegiance. Tonight at the end of the short invocation, I ask for a moment of silence in memory of the victims of the shooting today in California. Please join me in prayer. God our Father, you guide everything in wisdom and love. Accept the prayers we offer for our nation, our state, and our town. In your goodness, watch over those in authority so that people everywhere may enjoy freedom, security, and peace. We ask this in your name. Amen. Please join me in the pledge. I pledge allegiance to the
flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Councilman Martin?
Here.
Councilman Delavani?
Here.
Councilman Delat?
Here.
Councilwoman Rosbowski? Here. Supervisor Ketzley?
Here. We have a little bit of a busy agenda, but the good news is no add-ons and no executive session tonight. So we'll start right in with item number 4, which is the town council report. So I'll start on my left with Councilman Delat.
Nothing this evening, Supervisor.
Councilwoman Rosbowski.
Mr. Supervisor, just that we are trying to wrap up our LEAP program for this year. You can look at the town's website to see where we've been, where we're going to be, weather permitting. We'll try to get them all up before it's
Excellent. Thank you. Councilman Martin.
Yes, I attended the Local Development Corporation meeting earlier this week on Tuesday morning, and the LDC just got back their audit report for the year 2014, and it was clean. Just a couple of minor recommendations that they're going to undertake, but it was a good report. That's it.
Councilman Pitlavani.
No report.
Excellent. Thank you. We'll move right into our first of 3 public hearings. I'll open the public hearing. We ask anyone who wishes to be heard on this matter to come to the podium and address the board on the matter. If you would please state your name and address for the record, that would also be helpful. So the first public hearing that we'll open is a public hearing to hear all those interested regarding the proposed imposition of liens on certain parcels of their real property for cutting grass, brush, and administrative fees pursuant to Chapter 999 of the Code of the Town of Glenville. The public hearing is now open. This is a public hearing regarding the imposition of fees for the brush and grass cuttings. Anyone wish to be heard on that matter? Going once, going twice, seeing none. The public hearing is now closed. The next public hearing is a public hearing to hear all those interested regarding a proposed local law imposing a temporary moratorium on permits for projects in research, development, and technology zone districts requiring conditional use permits and site plan review, and on permits for pawn shops, thrift stores, secondhand dealers, vapor shops, and massage parlors in general business zones. That public hearing is now open. Anyone wish to be heard on the zoning amendment for research, development, technology, and general business? Going once, going twice, seeing none, that public hearing is now closed. Final public hearing to hear all those interested in the proposed local law imposing a temporary moratorium on permits for projects in rural, residential, and agricultural zone districts requiring conditional use permits and site plan review. The public hearing is now open. Anyone wish to be heard on that matter? Yes, ma'am. Yes, please. You come right to the podium. Just state your name and address for the record.
Hello, I'm Wendy Carroll. I'm a resident of West Glenville, and my address is 2824 Torita Road. I'm here to speak. This is very right on my forehead. All right, I'm here to speak on the proposed moratorium for the rural and agricultural areas, which would be the local law number 5. With the exception of 10 years, I have lived in Glenville all of my life. I grew up in East Glenville, and I lived in Scotia, and then now I live in West Glenville. In the interest of full disclosure, I'm a former member of the GEC Volunteer Committee. I'm currently serving on 2 of the volunteer committees for the town of Glenville. I'm on the Open Spaces Committee. I'm also on the Residential Advisory Committee. For those of you who don't know what the Residential Advisory Committee is, it's a volunteer committee of town residents. We're reviewing and revising the comprehensive town plan. It's a lot of work, it's a lot of reading, and the reading is kind of boring, by the way.
No offense, Kevin.
Yeah. We're working in conjunction with the town employees and other committees and departments. So we're doing a lot of work. The REC was developed, and I hope I'm right on this, and formed based upon several community meetings and an online questionnaire, and people were selected for that. Personally, I love Glenville. Okay, it's close to everything. We're close to Saratoga, we're close to SPAC, Albany, we have the Adirondacks, we have a village, we have a riverfront, we have an industrial park, we have an aquifer, we have suburban areas, we have rural areas. We have an amazingly varied and unique area. And I think it's really important, especially reviewing all these documents, that we're giving due diligence to each area. And one of the things I'm really worried about is that because it's rural and the population density is less than other areas, we're not giving due diligence to the quality and the nature of the rural areas. And I think it's really important that we need to do that. Because it's always talked about, in all the plans, it's always talked about how we appreciate, we value, and it's a rural area not because there's a parking lot there. It's not rural anymore. It's not rural if it's developed into a suburban area, then it's a suburban area. So there's a lot of talk about the protection of it, but now we really need to have an opportunity to act on the protection of it. I'm a person that cares, and I wanted to be involved in the shaping of the future of this amazing community, and it really is amazing because we have so many really good parts about it. So, I got ahead of myself here. So, I think it is appropriate, and I think it's necessary to really listen to the residents of West Glenville and to protect this part of our town. Just because we don't have hundreds of people doesn't mean we shouldn't be that our opinion shouldn't be valued. Right now we're also considering the impact of the casino and the pawn shops, and you're ready to take action on that. So I really think we are making parts of our community better. We brought the Target in where there was the Kmart, and we really need to figure out how we can not just sort of not think about West Glenville, but make it a better rural and agricultural community. Okay, so that's it. Thank you.
We heard on this topic. Yes.
Betty Branwell, 2973 Torreuna Road, across from Wendy. I agree with everything that Wendy had said about how Glenville is a very good township. The rural agricultural area is a unique area. It's a lovely place to live. And like Wendy, except for a brief stay when we first got married, I lived in the city of Schenectady. I have lived in the town of Glenville all my life. I personally would hate to see the rural agricultural character get lost, get tainted. Once you pave it, it's gone. Once you cut the trees, they're gone. It changes the character immensely. I'll make this very short and sweet. My purpose here was to just say that I strongly urge the board to approve the resolution adopting local law number 5, imposing the moratorium, and stepping back and giving a good look at the comprehensive plan and how we can continue to preserve the town of Glenville rural agricultural areas. And thank you very much for sending this to me. Appreciate it.
Anyone else wish to be heard? Yes, ma'am. That's you. We don't associate with your company. So.
Oh, okay. Thank you. I had the other one sitting by me, but for some reason they moved.
My name is Barbara Rigby. I live at 2470 Waters Road. I'm also in favor of the moratorium. We have recently come into this craziness about, developing and things like that. And I think we really need to stop and look at this in a really slow manner. We need to really slow down and really look at this very carefully, because as I said, once this changes, it's gone forever. And that's not why we moved up there. We really need some time, and hopefully you will approve this moratorium. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good evening. My name is Andy Brick. I'm an attorney from Albany, and I represent a number of residents from the West Glenville area. If you could all raise your hands for me so you can see. Those are my clients. As you can see, they're not shy to speak for themselves. A few of them asked me just to get up and express the general will of the group, and first and foremost to say thank you. They want to thank you as a group for listening to their concerns. They raised some concerns, and you, as a local government, have been responsive in considering this moratorium. So on their behalf, I'm here to say thank you to you all. We support the moratorium. The moratorium is not about one project or one particular property. The moratorium is about timing, perfect timing. You currently have a comprehensive plan committee actively looking at how to amend your comprehensive plan and plan for this town for the next 20 or 30 years. Now is the perfect time to hit the pause button on development in the agricultural and rural area, and take a look at what's in the code, what works, what doesn't. There recently have been some projects that raised some questions about whether or not the existing language is properly in place to protect the rural nature of the zone. So now is the perfect time to put a temporary pause. I believe you're proposing 6 months, which is perfect. We as a group would offer to volunteer our services to assist the Comprehensive Plan Review Committee and share our thoughts on what we think would work or won't work in that particular portion of the town. But primarily I'm here on behalf of the group to thank you for listening to their concerns.
Thank you. Anyone else wish to be heard on this matter? Sir.
Good evening. So I had to make some interesting modifications to my prepared statement, so I hope you'll bear with me. My name is Joe Berman, and I am a resident at 2134 Waters Road in Glenville. I come before you this evening as a resident of the town, a homeowner, and the head of my household. I'm a husband and father. I'm an accredited sustainability professional and an engaged and concerned member of this community. I heard someone speak earlier about open disclosure. I would also like to openly disclose that I chair the Environmental Advisory Council for the County of Schenectady, that I am the chair of the New York State Business Council's Committee on the Environment, and I sit on the board of directors for the Green Building Initiative. I come here this evening to express my strong support for the moratorium. I'm very familiar with comprehensive planning efforts in the surrounding communities. I was actually a member of the Albany 2030 comprehensive plan and worked with them on their energy master plan, and I can assure you that extraordinary things have come out of that planning effort that have really benefited the city of Albany. And I anticipate that similar benefits could be done to the town of Glenville should the moratorium be put in place and a comprehensive plan be pursued. I would like to make it clear that I am fundamentally pro-economic development in this town, and that I am pro-new job creation. I'd also like to make it clear that I am not opposed to real estate or land development as such. Now that said, I think that those activities must be done sensibly and thoughtfully with community consensus and as part of a broader planning effort. And to that end, so I heard about this moratorium actually today, and honestly I think that it's absolutely wonderful, and I'd like to strongly encourage the board to deny any application for recreational facilities until such time as the comprehensive plan has been developed, and considerations such as these can be evaluated in that broader context. And I'd really like to thank you all for taking the time to listen to me this evening. Thank you.
Thank you. you all for speaking. I do want to just really quickly, on this comp plan rewrite, you have very good representation in Wendy on the committee. But if there's anything that you want to address directly to Kevin, to myself, to Jim Martin, who is chairing up the comp plan rewrite, please reach out to us on any matter whatsoever. But you do have some representation on the resident advisory committee for sure. And probably other West Glenville residents too, Kevin, on the other committees. But we are making sure that every part of the town is represented. And you can always directly contact any board member, but us three would probably be the easiest in relation to that project. So thank you very much for your time tonight on that. The next item on the agenda is privilege of the floor. The two people who signed up already spoke. I assume you don't want to speak again. So anyone who wishes to speak at privilege of the floor on any matter before the town, privilege of the floor is now open. Anyone wish to speak on privilege of the floor? Seeing none. That is now closed. We move to supervisors' comments to the board, which will be fairly brief.
You guys in the front row are in for a treat.
It'll be brief. Good evening, and I just wanted to take a quick moment to bring up to speed on a few things. I know Councilman Martin already talked about the SBED meeting that he attended, I attended. We had a nice spirited debate on a few things, but one of the things that I think came out of it in some of my conversations with Jim Velikovic, who is the chair of the Glenville Business Professional Association, is that we're really going to try to put an emphasis this coming year on getting that business association off the ground. He's planning right now as we speak a lunch for we're inviting anybody in the business community that'd like to come to Applebee's. Right now the tentative date is December 17th, and it's going to be kind of an open invitation to reinvigorate the Glenville Business and Professional Association. I know he's revamping the applications right now with some new structure on membership fees and things like that based on how big your business is. And so it's really exciting. I think there's going to be an opportunity to revamp that. And so there'll be more on this when he's nailing down the details. But we thought using Applebee's would be a good way to kind of, start with a new business in town. And that should be on, again, December 17th. Councilman Martin and myself also had an opportunity to attend a forum at the Rockefeller Institute together on local government efficiency and how to share between local governments better, and a whole variety of topics on local governments and the fiscal constraints that we're facing today. I thought it was well worth the time there. I think Jim would probably agree. I think we had some good stuff to come back with and maybe start talking about ways of sharing. And tonight we're actually going to probably achieve one of those in the resolution on the road swap, which Tom Capola has been working on. We'll talk about that when we get to it. I also had an opportunity to meet with one of the planning and zoning candidates for 2016. As you know, we have a vacancy, so we need to fill it with a new candidate. The chairman of the planning board will be meeting with him tomorrow. Kevin will also be meeting with him tomorrow. And if he gets through all the rounds of interviews, he'll be coming forward in the organizational meeting to be placed on the planning board. And so we'll have a full roster at that particular point. If there's any committees you interact with that need to be reappointed, which is most of them, please just confirm that everybody wants to be reappointed in January so we can get the resolution set on appointing those committees. That would be helpful. The zoning board, the planning board, they have terms, obviously. There's 1 or 2 terms in between there. And I think Chairman Hennel is working on asking if the person who's coming up to be expired wants to reauthorize. So we're working on that as well. Kevin and I met with Oak Hill School. They're looking at doing a possible expansion. Business is good for them, so I guess that's good news. They obviously have to go to the state ed and get approvals and whatnot, but Kevin and I kind of started the ball rolling on the local side of things. They're exempt from zoning, so there's not a lot we would be involved in, but as a courtesy, they came to us, and as they get further along and what their expansion will look like, as a courtesy, they'll come to the planning board and also the town board just to give you an overview of what that's going to look like. That's a school on Charlton Road, by the way. So that's expanding. Mohawk Honda is having a grand opening on December 15th. 11:30 to 1. I think you guys got the chamber invite on that. Lunch is provided, so that's not a bad thing. So if you can make it, I've had an opportunity to meet with McKeel Christian Academy on a few occasions on their pending move up to Glen Haven. Obviously, there's some things still to work out. Biggest one is, what do we do with McKeel School in Scotia now? And so there's some ideas that we've been working on. I think we've all been talking about some ideas, but we've been meeting with the headmaster and making some progress there. Want to just remind you, Holiday on the Avenue is this Sunday, the 6th. What time? 2 to 5. 2 to 5. That's always a great time. And three quick things. On December 8th, the school board, the Burnt Hills School Board, will be honoring the girls volleyball team for their state championship. Yeah. Who said that? Give me a hand. Come on, that was a great thing. So they invited me and the board if we wanted to come to give a proclamation. That might be a little different than we've done normally. We get them here, but the school board's going to do something, so we'll just work with them if you want to come on the 8th at the Burnt Hills High School. And on the 10th, I've been invited to the award ceremony for the Regional Economic Development Council. I don't know if we can read into that too much. Jim's giddy about it. He thinks it's good news that we might have an award, which would be the Freeman's Bridge Award. So
Usually don't get invited unless you want.
it'd be kind of lousy to invite someone and then, that's how the Grammys work, And then lastly, I've been invited to join the Burnt Hills Business and Professional Association study group on the Route 50 corridor. And this is a nice example, I think, of what Jim, you've talked about we should be doing with Scotia more, is they want continuity in economic development planning coming out of Glenville into Burnt Hills. So it's going to be a cross-town, cross-county effort to try to redevelop that Route 50 corridor. Not look at it as just that's Burnt Hills and this is Glenville, but to look at it as how can we as two communities really invest and market and work together on making that community, that section revitalized. So I think that's a really positive thing. And that meeting will be taking place tomorrow evening. So that's positive. So that's all I have. Anyone have any questions, concerns, issues? Thank you. Okay, so back to the agenda. We'll do the item number 10, resolution number 10, scheduling public hearing for Wednesday, December 16th regarding a zoning map amendment. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Do I have a second?
I'll second it.
Moved and second. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Supervisor, this is the resolution that sets a date for a public hearing on a consideration of rezoning from land conservation to general business, and this is specifically the site of the little cabin, I believe, right on Route 50, just so people get an idea of where this is at. And this is just simply for the public hearing at this point, setting the public hearing later this month at December 16th, 2015 at 7 p.m. in this building, in this room.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Catalani?
Yes.
Councilman Blument?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wozzachowski?
Yes.
Supervisor Ketzley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next resolution, resolution 11, authorizing the supervisor to enter into a stipulation of settlement and release regarding an Article 78 proceeding in relation to Rosewood Home Builders. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and second. Any discussion? Oh, that's me.
That's it.
All right, so to give you the background on it, there was an Article 78 proceeding brought against the town related to the Rosewood Home Builders project. We all know back in December of 2010, they paid a permit, improvement permit to the town for the tune of $113,000. They sold the project, and instead of the Belmonte builders who bought the project just taking on that cost as being paid already in the price of the sale, Rosewood sued for their permit fees back. The town, of course, held that permit fees are not refundable. Unfortunately, the court went against us and awarded a sum of $108,000 to be paid. The town then filed an appeal in April, and the town attorney and myself went to a civil action settlement mediation meeting in November, on November 10th. It was many hours long and painful. But the good news is we came out in the end with the fact that the town was absolved of any cost and any reimbursement related back to Rosewood, because Rosewood and Belmonte resolved it between themselves, as we said from day one they should have. So, in the best interest of the town, this settlement would allow me, as a town supervisor, to sign the stipulation and to end the Article 78, and the town gets away with, instead of paying $108,000, paying $0. You have no problem with that?
No.
Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Pittavani?
Yes.
Councilman Blunt?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wozzachowski?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next resolution, Resolution 12, adopting local law 3 of the amending Chapter 255 of the Vehicle and Traffic Law. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Moved and second. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Supervisor, the town of Glenville has been considering a local law to amend Chapter 255 of the Vehicle and Traffic Code of the town of Glenville. The town board has held a public hearing on November, whatever the date was, 2015 at 7 p.m., at which time all parties and interests were afforded the opportunity to be heard and to publicly comment on the amending of the code of the town of Glenville as set forth. The town board of the town of Glenville does hereby establish local law to amend the code of the town of Glenville to adopt local law number 3, 2015, to the Chapter 255 Vehicle and Traffic Law. And what it actually is to add a stop sign at the following intersection of Elder Lane on Birch Lane. The stop sign will be on Birch Lane, east and west, and then it would be to remove the stop sign that is on Alder Lane at Birch Lane. Now, they won't be done in the same day. Both stop signs will be up for a reasonable amount of time until the residents get used to the new traffic.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Pittavani?
Yes.
Councilman Blunt?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wozzachowski?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next, Resolution 13, adopting local law 4 of 2015, imposing a temporary moratorium on permits related to research, development, and technology, and also general business zones. Do I have a motion?
I'll move
Do
it.
I have a second?
I'll second it.
Moved in second. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Supervisor, this is a resolution in regards to the prior public hearing we had tonight about imposition of a moratorium on permits for projects in the research and development technology zone, as well as general business zone relating to any kind of action such as conditional use permits and site plan review for pawn shops, thrift stores, secondhand dealers, vapor shops, and massage parlors in those respective zones. This is done in light of the fact we have an ongoing effort to update our comprehensive plan, which we expect to be completed within the next 6 months, and this provides that moratorium for that period. And I think it's the second one of this nature on this specific topic.
Yeah, so this is a reauthorization.
Yeah.
Any questions or comments? There's no adult businesses allowed in West Glenville, right? I'm not sure.
Correct.
All right, any other questions? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Yes. Oh, I'm sorry.
Councilman Martin?
Yes. Jump the
Councilman
gun.
Pittavani?
Yes.
Councilman Blunt?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wozzachowski?
Yes.
Supervisor Pettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. The next resolution, Resolution 14, adopting local law number 5 of 2015, imposing a temporary moratorium on permits for projects in rural, residential, and agricultural zones. Do I have a motion?
I'll move
Do
it.
I have a second?
Second?
Moved in second. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Supervisor, this is a resolution, again, on a moratorium in regards to the prior public hearing once again. And this is for establishing a temporary moratorium on permits for projects in our rural, residential, and agricultural zone. Those projects requiring conditional use permits and site plan review. And the other thing I want to say about this is, you know, it's been expressed that we have very special rural area in our town, or rural areas, and I agree completely. And those are at risk. And you know, zoning goes, the fundamental basis for zoning is to protect the health, safety, and welfare of any community. And there's been a lot of parsing of words about reviews on projects lately. And fundamentally, I just want to state for the record my support for simply the welfare of a community and the welfare of our rural areas in particularly. And we're in the context of this comprehensive plan update. It's been a very healthy process. We've heard from our community all across the town, and in particular in our rural areas. And I'm very happy to bring this resolution. And I'm very hopeful that we come out with a very accurate and responsive plan that does preserve the way of life that the people in our rural areas have so come to enjoy. I was raised in a rural area myself, and I can particularly relate. So I'm happy to author or bring this resolution and sponsor it.
Thank you. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Pittlavani?
Yes.
Councilman Luant?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wozzachowski?
Yes.
Supervisor Kettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next resolution, we're not used to applause.
I don't think we've ever been applauded. Thank you.
Resolution 15, authorizing the imposition of liens on certain parcels regarding the cutting grass, brush, and weeds code. Do I have a motion?
So,
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved in second. Any discussion?
Mr. Supervisor, this resolution is in connection with the violations of the upkeeping of certain properties within the town. There's 12 properties on this list that have all been noticed, and the brush, grass, and weeds violations will be taken care of, and the amounts that are also listed in the schedule will be applied to the tax bills. It goes to our commitment to trying to keep the neighborhoods and the properties in the town upkept when we don't have owners that are willing or unable, for whatever reason, to do so on their own.
Thank you. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Pittlavani?
Yes.
Councilman Luant?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wozzachowski?
Yes.
Supervisor Kettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Before we go on to resolution 16, I just want to point out before people start to leave, I just want to be clear we all have the same understanding as well. This moratorium impacts any applications coming forward now. The approval that was already made is not effective. I just want to make sure everyone understands the original approval cannot be held to this moratorium. So it's still very good news. I just wanted to be sure we all had the same. I don't want to mislead anybody. So moving on to item number 16, a resolution authorizing the supervisor to enter into an agreement with McDonald Engineering. Do I have a motion?
I'll move it.
Do I have a second?
Second?
Moved in second. Any discussion?
Yes, Mr. Supervisor, this is a resolution that will retain the services of McDonald Engineering for a price of $27,800 on the basis of a proposal that was provided to us for the lighting project in our town center area. We're now in a position to pursue that lighting project to complete the work there that started with the sidewalk project. And this will retain the services of McDonald Engineering to provide the design services for that lighting project through the town center.
Any questions or comments? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Pittlavani?
Yes.
Councilman Luant?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wozzachowski?
Yes.
Supervisor Kettsley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next, resolution 17, ratifying the town's selection of certain health insurance carriers for our town plans. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. This resolution is unfortunate this happened, but we were, of course, as you all know, we have agreements with our 3 bargaining units. They all have base plan health insurance identified in those agreements. We were notified by our health insurance broker, Jager and Flynn, that due to the Affordable Health Care Act change in the minimum number of covered lives, going from 50 to 100, we have less than 100 lives, that we would no longer have certain plans available to us. Unfortunately, one of those plans was our base plan in CDPHP. This was one of the negative impacts of Affordable Health Care Plan, taking away people's choice in their plans. And so we had to work with the three union leaders and identify plans that can be used as a base plan, and this resolution would allow us to go forward and to name MVP Platinum EPO and the Blue Shield of Northeastern New York Platinum POS as the town's decisions for employees and their opportunity as base plans in the contracts going forward. So this would authorize me to execute the agreement with MVP, Blue Shield, and CDPHP for the calendar year 2016. Any questions or comments? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Pittlavani?
Yes.
Councilman Blument?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wozzachowski?
Yes.
Supervisor Ketzley?
Yes, resolution passes. Next, resolution 18, authorizing the supervisor to enter into an MOA on highway shared services. Do I have a motion?
So moved.
Do I have a second? Second. Moved in second. Any discussion?
Mr. Supervisor, this is in connection with a proposed agreement between the town of Glenville and County of Schenectady in connection with responsibility for snow and ice control on various county highways located within the town, and the town having similar responsibilities for the maintenance of town roads. Since at least the 2005-2006 winter season, the county and the town have actually had an agreement for highway shared services with respect to the exchange of certain snow and ice control routes so that we all operate a little bit more efficiently. We have once again a proposal from a memorandum of agreement for highway shared services, exchange of snow and ice routes for the 2015-16 winter season, which hasn't yet started, thankfully, between us and the county. It has been recommended by our Commissioner of Public Works, Tom Popola, that we enter into this agreement, so this resolution would then allow you to execute that agreement to have highway shared services with the county for highways, snow and ice routes for the 2015-16 winter season.
Thank you, and I want to thank you, Councilman Wozzachowski, our Highway Superintendent Tom Capola, Mike Seaburn, for working on this. I mean, this is really, it sounds a little bit boring, but it really is a very, very smart move as far as gaining efficiencies. When you think about the fact that we're consolidating the western part of the town to the county, and we're going to have the eastern part of our nucleus, the time and the money and the fuel and all that you save, and actually allowing us to get to the roads quicker, probably, so you don't have that 4 to 6 mile ride to get out to those West Glenville roads, is going to actually help the taxpayer. It's going to be more efficient, and I just want to congratulate all of you guys for all you've done on doing that. These are the things that we talk about getting done that are small in nature in many ways, but they make a big difference in the end. And there's more that we can do, and there's more that we're going to be doing. But I want to just congratulate you guys for all that work. Any other questions or comments? Seeing none, please record the vote.
Councilman Martin?
Yes.
Councilman Pittlavani?
Yes.
Councilman Blument?
Yes.
Councilwoman Wozzachowski? Yes. Supervisor Ketzley?
Yes, resolution passes. Finally, last item on the agenda, new business. I'll start on my left with Councilman Blument.
Mr. Supervisor, at the time of the year with the holiday season, people are crazy, minds are not totally focused on what you're doing. I ask that, especially the women, when you're shopping, pay attention to your purse. Last year, my wife was a victim in the Target parking lot. Her purse was red, the cards were red, she didn't grab it, and thank God that we have a very good police department and there's a lot of cameras out there that it had a happy ending, but not a lot of people have happy endings. So pay attention to your purse because there's people out there waiting for somebody to not pay attention. That's all. Happy holidays.
Thank you. Councilman Wozzachowski. Councilman Martin.
Nothing new.
Councilman Pittlavani.
Just wanted to point out one thing, and that was myself and 2 other members of the board for the month of November participated in No Shave November for cancer. which at the last board meeting, if you look at the tape, there would be 3 of us with beards up here. I can honestly say it's the 2nd of December, and I couldn't wait to get rid of mine, and obviously the other 2 didn't.
Actually, I'm sorry I did now, because my wife liked it better.
Likewise.
What are you gonna do?
Yeah.
Anything else? Seeing none, I'll take a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
Moved in second, all in favor?
Aye.
And opposed for adjournment.